Rivers feel calm and familiar, maybe even predictable. We fish in them, swim in them, drink from them. But for most of Earth's history, freshwater was anything but safe. Long before crocodiles, before sharks ever swam inland, and long before humans learned to fear what lurked beneath the surface, rivers were ruled by something far worse. You likely wouldn't see it coming and you wouldn't hear it move. You would simply disappear. Because millions of years ago, the most dangerous predators on the planet didn't live in the ocean, they lived in rivers. Freshwater environments are perfect killing grounds. Visibility is poor, movement is restricted, escape routes are limited. Unlike the open ocean, rivers force everything into tight spaces, and predators that evolve there don't chase their prey. They ambush it. During the late Devonian and early Carboniferous periods, around 400 million years ago, a group of predatory fish evolved that would come to dominate freshwater ecosystems across the world. They were widespread, very aggressive, and they were built to kill. These were the Rhizodonts, the true river monsters of Earth. The earliest members of this group were already terrifying by the standards of their time. One of the first to appear was a predatory fish known as Gulugangia that emerged during the Devonian period, when vertebrate life was just beginning to explore new environments. It wasn't massive and it wasn't flashy, but it was efficient. This monster had a long muscular body and large paddle-like fins that allowed it to maneuver effortlessly through slow-moving water. Its skeleton was well developed, giving it strength and control far beyond most fish of its era. But its real weapon was its mouth. When this predator bit down, its jaws didn't just clamp shut. They locked inward, dragging prey deeper into its grip. Rows of cone-shaped teeth lined its jaws, backed by larger fangs and tooth structures built to puncture and hold. Once caught, escape was unlikely. Even at roughly 1 meter in length, this fish would have been one of the most dominant freshwater predators of its time. It hunted smaller fish, early tetrapods, and anything unlucky enough to drift too close. And this was just the beginning, because over time, Rhizodonts didn't stay small. They got bigger, heavier, and deadlier. As the Carboniferous period began, a new generation of river monsters emerged. They sat alone at the top of the freshwater food chain. One of the most notorious was a massive rhizodont known as Barameda, which lived in what is now Australia. Everything about its design pointed toward violence. It could reach lengths of 3 to 4 meters, so up to 13 feet, making it one of the largest freshwater fish of its time. Its body was thick and powerful, built more like a living battering ram than a typical fish. Its skull was tightly fused and reinforced with thick bony plates, giving it incredible bite stability. Large fangs protruded from its jaws, giving it a nightmarish, almost vampiric appearance. And nothing challenged it. Fish, sharks, lungfish, early amphibians, all were potential prey. Even other large lobe-finned fish, animals built with thick muscular fins, were not safe. In its rivers and lakes, it had no rivals. This predator sat at the top of the food chain. If it could fit in its mouth, it was food. And if it couldn't, it would tear it apart. But even this monster was not the peak of rhizodont evolution, because around 40 million years later, something even worse appeared. This was the apex, the final form, the largest freshwater predator ever discovered. Its name was Rhizodus, and nothing that swam beside it stood a chance. Calling Rhizodus big is just an understatement. It was colossal. Estimates suggest it could grow up to 7 meters long, over 23 feet, and weigh well over 3,000 pounds. That puts it on par with large great white sharks and is heavier than the biggest saltwater crocodiles ever recorded. But size alone wasn't what made Rhizodus terrifying. It was how that size was used. Its jaws were lined with massive fangs, some reaching nearly 9 inches in length. That's comparable to the teeth of a Tyrannosaurus rex. These fangs weren't for display. They existed for one reason: to keep prey from ever escaping. Rhizodus likely hunted much like modern crocodiles. It had a flexible spine and powerful musculature, allowing it to twist violently once it latched onto prey. A single bite would be followed by a brutal death roll, tearing whatever it caught apart until they were small enough to swallow. Medium-sized fish, large tetrapods, or anything that entered its territory really. All were vulnerable, and unlike many predators, Rhizodus didn't restrict itself to the water. Evidence suggests it could lunge onto shore using its massive paddle-like fins, dragging terrestrial animals back into the river. Track marks hint at sudden explosive movements from shallow water onto land. That's right, you weren't safe along the shoreline either. This beast hunted both worlds. Despite its enormous size, Rhizodus thrived in environments that seem almost impossible for something so large. It preferred slow-moving rivers cluttered with fallen trees, debris, and dense vegetation, places where visibility was poor and escape paths were limited. Instead of being hindered by this terrain, Rhizodus used it to its advantage. Its cylindrical body allowed it to twist, turn, and maneuver through obstacles with surprising agility. It would hide beneath submerged logs, around bends in the river, and in shadowed corners where prey couldn't see it coming. Every corner was a potential ambush. Every attempt to cross the water was a gamble. If you were an animal living near these waters, survival depended on luck, and luck eventually ran out like it always does. Rhizodus and its relatives spread across vast regions of the ancient world. Fossils have been found in Europe, Russia, and possibly North America, showing that these river monsters were not rare anomalies. They were common. They dominated freshwater ecosystems for millions of years. But even apex predators are not immune to extinction. Around 323 million years ago, environmental changes triggered a major extinction event during the Carboniferous period. Climate shifts, habitat loss, and collapsing ecosystems wipe out a significant portion of life on Earth. Rhizodus disappeared, and with it, the age of true river monsters came to an end. Today, rivers still hold dangerous animals: crocodiles, large catfish, electric eels, but none come close to the sheer dominance once held by rhizodonts. For a vast stretch of Earth's history, stepping into fresh water meant facing predators normally associated with the open ocean. Back then, there was no such thing as safe water. Thanks for watching Fossil Flicks. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more videos like this one weekly.